Okay, this is a lecture about mailing labels. This is a fun activity where we use both Excel and Word. Someday in your future, you may have to create a large batch of envelopes with addresses, such as graduation announcements or wedding announcements or something for work, or you have a long list of people, their addresses, and you want to put them on labels. And this is how I'm going to show you how to do it. The first step is to collect all of the data. So here is a long list of names and addresses and where they live. Now, what's missing? The state and zip. And I left this blank on purpose because you're going to have to do this on the assignment. Now, we all know that Idaho Falls is in Idaho, and using the autofill handle, all I have to do is double click and it will fill the data all the way down to the bottom of my list because it's smart enough to know when my list stops. Same thing with zip code. Now I know there are several different zip codes in Idaho Falls, but I'm just going to use the blanket 83401 for all of them. Okay, now that my data is complete, one important step is that you have to have labeled as a header row what each column is. Excel needs to know which column is address, which one is city, state, and zip. So you have to have a row 1 labeling each column. That is important. Okay, so then we're going to save. Okay, and you need to remember what your file is saved as so you can pull it up in the next couple steps. All right, so we're done with Excel and we're going to open up Word. All right, we went over all of these tabs a few weeks ago, except for one, and that is mailings, and that's what we're going to do today. Notice you can do envelopes and labels like we're doing today, but we are doing a mail merge. Now, as I go throughout this ribbon, we're going to start at the left and work to the right. We will not use every button, but I'm just letting you know that as we progress, we do move to the right, noticing that the last button is finish. Okay, so I'm going to start with start, and I'm going to say we are creating labels. And it's going to ask, what kind of labels are you creating? Okay, this part is important. This is what brand of label. Now, if you go to Walmart and you buy a box of labels, it could be everything from Avery, it could be Microsoft. So you need to know the brand of label. I'm going to choose Office Depot. Now, on the box of labels, there's going to be a product number, and that's going to tell the computer what kind of label you are using. I happen to know that the assignment today, we are looking for address 612111. And notice here, it tells us the size. If I had picked this one, the label is 3 3/4 inches. The one I want is only 1 inch high. Go ahead and click OK, and it's going to create a template. These lines do not print, they are just grid lines, but it shows you where your lines are. Okay, the next step is select recipients. We have already created a spreadsheet, so we are going to use an existing list, and it's going to say, where did you save it? So you have to go in and find it, and if you give me a second, I will lead us to that step, and mine was example. Okay, now it's going to bring, oh, that's not what I wanted it to do. There we go. This is what I want it to do. It's going to say which sheet on this document. Now remember, when I had talked to you about worksheets, you could have multiple sheets along the bottom of your screen. And this, in this box right here, it would list them all. Well, I only have one, so I can just click OK. All right, now it's ready to be filled with data. Okay, so I want to click address block. Okay, address block is going to give me an example of what the label looks like. Now I know this is not the correct placing. We'll worry about that later. But as you click through, you should be able to see the names, address, city, state, and zip. If you are missing one of these, you need to go into match fields. Now match fields tells Excel, this is what I've named it, and this is what you should look for. So did you name it, did you give it a correct header? Did you name it postal code rather than zip? See how postal code is an option. This is how you can match fields. If something is not pulling up, this is where you go in and say, I want you to look for the state and click OK. I'm going to go back to the beginning and hit OK because this all looks all right to me. This box is basically just a balance and checks. Okay, so it has inserted an address block. Now I want to fill all of my labels with an address block, so I'm going to say update labels. Okay, so address block, and then there's a field called next, which just tells the computer to move to the next label. Then there's an address block, etc. Now I'm going to click on preview results, which shows me what my labels are going to look like. And you know what? They look pretty much perfect. So I'm going to unclick preview and I'm going to go to finish. Now I would say 9 times out of 11, I would click edit document because in this screen is where I could, if I wanted, select all my data. I could change the font. I could make it a color, etc. So you could do all of those things in this edit screen. Okay, so you should end up with quite a long list of labels, and you are going to save this as a document and email me this document and the example data sheet that you corrected. So it's not too bad. It is just making sure that you follow the steps on the mailing ribbon and go from there. If you are missing data, you will probably have a hiccup here and there. I've had several students turn in these sheets missing the city and state, so make sure that you have all the data correct. All right, if you have questions, pause and replay this video or email me. Have a great day.